Hey Saiko! Do you want to be a Power Ranger? Let's review Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. The game starts off in the current day with the Rangers battling Robo Rita in her moon Palace. Before they can defeat her, she escapes using a portal that takes her back in time to 1993. Her goal is simple: combine powers with Rita from the 90s and defeat the Rangers once and for all. It sounds like a great plan because, as the old saying goes, two Ritas are better than one. It's a simple concept that does the job to set the game in motion. What I found most interesting is that Rita's Rewind is sort of a spiritual successor or sibling to the Netflix Power Rangers special Once and Always. You see, Robo Rita was first created for that special, and her goal in the movie is to go back in time to team up with the original Rita Repulsa to defeat the Rangers. It's the same plot as the game. The only difference is, in the movie, Robo Rita is defeated before she can travel through her time portal, but in the game she makes it through and combines powers with her 90s self. So the game isn't really a sequel to Once and Always, but more like a what-if story that plays out an alternate ending to the special. It's not necessary at all to have watched Once and Always to enjoy the game and its campy story, but it is a fun Easter egg for those who are in the know. And if you're curious as to why half of Robo Rita's faceplate is missing, it's not explained in the game, but it is shown in the special. Rita's Rewind is a side-scrolling action beat-em-up. At the start of the game, you choose your ranger and then set off to fight putties, monsters, and stages all across Angel Grove. Throughout the game, you'll alternate from street fighting as a Power Ranger, to blasting baddies in your Zord, to kaiju-style monster combat in the Megazord. When playing as a Power Ranger, you're given a small but effective arsenal of commands. You can punch and kick with the attack button, you can evade hits using the dodge button, which is very useful in combat, and you can jump and double jump with the jump button. Double tapping left or right will make your ranger dash in that direction, and throughout combat you'll charge up your power meter. Once fully charged, you can use the super attack button to unleash a devastating special attack that hits all enemies on the screen. Finally, if you find yourself overwhelmed by the putties, you can hit the attack and super attack buttons at once to unleash the power blast. It'll execute a pulse of energy that knocks the enemies backwards, but it's at the expense of some of your health. So use it wisely and sparingly. As with any good action game, you can string together the commands to execute some rather fun combos. It's great knocking opponents into the air, jumping up to them, and dive kicking down to continue the onslaught. But in my opinion, the best move to master is dodging. If you get the timing right, you can chain your combos from one putty to the next while evading all their attacks. It's a welcomed addition that I hope becomes a staple for these types of brawlers in the future. There's nothing worse than having an opponent stop your attack flow with an uninterruptible move, but with the dodge button, you can evade the hit and keep on the offense. On your first playthrough of the game, you'll be able to play as one of the original 5 Rangers: red, yellow, blue, black, or pink. However, once you beat the main story, you'll unlock the most badass Morphin teenager around, Tommy as the Green Ranger. And for those of you who think I just spoiled some secret surprise, Digital Eclipse, the developers of this game, declare this Easter egg in the FAQ of their own website, so take a chill pill. It's cool to be able to play as any of the original 6 Rangers. It's even cooler that you can switch your Power Ranger in between stages, so you can show love to all your favorites. And to add one more layer to this coolness cake, it's really cool that Rita's Rewind supports up to 6 players local co-op. If you're playing on Switch, PC, or Xbox, you and 5 of your friends can gather around the screen, choose your favorite Ranger or arm wrestle for them, and all play at once. But if you're on the PS4 or PS5, the limit, as of now, is only 4 players locally. Sorry, Sony fans.
You burnt!
While it's great to be able to play as one of the 6 OG Rangers, the thrill kind of loses its luster when you realize they all play the same. The difference between each Ranger is only superficial. I know it'd be pretty difficult to create 6 unique playstyles, but they could have at least grouped the Rangers and made 3. For instance, Jason and Tommy could be the tanks, hit hard but move slow. Zack and Kimberly could be rangers, quick and nimble and able to deal heavy damage from afar with Kimberly's power bow and Zack's power axe cannon. And finally, Trini and Billy, they could be fighters, well balanced in attack, speed, and defense. Not only would this give the single player campaign more variety in combat, but imagine the fun you'd have teamed up with other players. The Green Ranger could pull aggro against all the putties, while the Blue Ranger runs circles around them clipping away damage, and finally the Pink Ranger at the edge of the screen raining down a maelstrom of arrows. The things they could have done.
God, the things they could have done.
The devs did try and resolve this issue by patching the game with upgradable stats for each Power Ranger. With the update, each Ranger now comes pre-configured with a strength, defense, and speed attribute. And after each stage, you earn experience points based on your combat performance that you can use to upgrade one of the 3 attributes a maximum of 4 times. The addition of these stats does add some variety to how each Ranger plays, but I see it more as a band-aid than a cure. The moveset and combos still play the same across all Rangers, and as you upgrade the stats for your Ranger, you're basically eliminating any difference in their playstyle. Also, I did take the time to max out all the attributes for the Green Ranger, and while I did notice a little green lightning bolt suddenly appear next to my player icon, I didn't notice any drastic change gameplay wise. I was kind of hoping that maxing out all the stats would turn me into a Super Green Ranger or something, but it did not. It wouldn't be a complete Mighty Morphin Power Rangers experience if it didn't include Dino Zords. Fortunately, Rita's Rewind has plenty of Zord fightin' mayhem. And what's fun is that the gameplay completely changes for the Zord stages. It transforms, or morphs if you will, from a side-scrolling beat-em-up action game to an old-school on-rails shooter. The camera is positioned behind your Zord, and the level pushes you forward at breakneck speed, forcing you to shoot at anything that moves or gets in your way. It actually reminds me of a classic rails shooter like Space Harrier, which is a good thing. These stages support multiple players just like the Power Ranger levels, and it's pretty cool to see all the Zords charging down the field at once. While most of the Zords play the same, just like with the Rangers, the Pink Ranger's Pterodactyl Dino Zord actually tweaks the gameplay a bit because it flies. Using her Zord, you can dodge projectiles easier and don't have to worry about jumping over pits. It's interesting that the very nature of her Zord forced gameplay to be different. It would have been nice if they made the gameplay for all the Zords unique. Just like in the TV show, after the Zords whittle down the main monster's power, they link up for some Megazord action. And once again, the devs keep things interesting by switching up the gameplay. When fighting as the Megazord, the game morphs into first-person view from the cockpit of the Zord, and the gameplay becomes very reminiscent of Punch-Out! You can move forward while bobbing and weaving to dodge missiles and attacks. Once close enough, you can unleash a fury of jabs and crosses. Every time you land a hit, you build up your energy bar for the power sword. When the bar is full, you can call down the sword and end the fight with one devastating slash. It's very cool they tried to make the Zord stages and Megazord combat so unique, and in a lot of ways, I think it works. But the Zord on Rails stages do get a bit repetitive, and the Megazord Punch-Out gameplay isn't robust enough to be truly engaging. It feels like a good first draft of something really great. Perhaps if they're ever able to make a DLC or a straight up sequel, they could refine both styles of gameplay to the level of polish they deserve. Before I move on from the Zords, I do want to confirm that yes, you can even play as the Dragon Zord. It's pretty cool, but again, it's just superficial. In the Zord stages, the Dragon Zord plays like the other land Zords. And when playing as a Megazord, the Dragon Zord just disappears.
And it's gone.
I was hoping we'd be able to fight as the Mega Dragon Zord, but nope, they just ignore it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is a pretty good looking game. The Ranger levels are filled with colorful 2D sprites, the character animations are solid, and the subtle camera shake that accompanies each impact has that nice game feel. The Zord levels look nice because they once again switched things up by using a combination of low poly models and billboard sprites to offer up that 2.5D perspective. The world map leaves a little to be desired, but it's only used for stage selects, so it's forgivable. Overall, the game aims for a mid-90s retro aesthetic, and I think it achieves it very nicely. Is it the best looking game ever? No. but it definitely captures the charm and fun of 90s era video games. It even has a CRT filter so the screen looks old school too. I'm glad they chose to go with sprite-based art instead of trying for a cel-shaded or toon-style 3D look. In fact, I kind of think the worst looking part of the game is the opening cinematic. It looks like it was created using Adobe Flash, which I guess could add to the old school style, but traditional hand-drawn art would have looked way nicer. But as soon as things switch over to the sprite art or mimic sprite art, it's all good. Rita's Rewind is a solid beat-em-up action game, and when compared to the pantheon of Mighty Morphin Power Ranger games that came before it, I think it'd easily be in the better category and possibly the best of the bunch. Overall, I enjoyed my playthroughs of Rita's Rewind, and so I'm giving the game a solid 3 out of 5. The combat system is fun, I enjoyed pulling off combos and evading attacks, but it really would have been cool for the Rangers to play significantly different from each other. The upgrade system is nice, but it feels like it was treating the symptom and not the cause. The on-rails shooter stages with the Zords are fun and a great change of pace from the beat-em-up action, but the lack of variety in the level designs and enemy types make them feel a little repetitive after a while. And finally, I love the concept they tried to achieve with the Megazord fights. The first-person cockpit view really does make it feel like you're piloting a ginormous mech in battle. I like the Punch-Out inspired gameplay mechanics. It feels good to dodge an incoming missile and then pummel the hell out of the monster. But overall, the Megazord battles feel unpolished. It's a great idea with only okay execution. If you're a fan of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV show, and a fan of retro action games or side-scrolling beat-em-ups, I think you'll definitely enjoy Rita's Rewind. And if you can wrangle up a few friends to come over and play together, I think you'll have a great time. It's a short game, so you and your friends could order up some pizza and have a fun evening taking down Robo Rita. You could even follow up the fun with a viewing of Once and Always to fill in the game's backstory. I think it's clear the developers of the game respected the source material and its fans. They created a fun action game with lots of good ideas that have so much more potential in them. It's nice to see that they're continuing to support the game after its release. It looks like they have more updates in the pipeline coming later this year, and I hope that sales of the game are good enough to allow them to at least create a fully featured DLC. In it, they could add more levels, perhaps more Zord transformations, and hopefully give the game mechanics, especially for the Zord and Megazord stages, the extra polish they need to take them to that next level. And while the Green Ranger was an awesome addition to the game, if they announced a DLC featuring Tommy's next Ranger iteration, I'd buy it in a heartbeat.